Buongiorno Bianconeri, welcome back to the All Juve cast. I'm Alberto, it's January 9th, and you know the drill. I got all this morning's news surfacing around La Vecchia Signora, and with that big matchup coming up this Friday against Napoli, we are starting to get a clear picture of what we could see out of Juventus in the lineup. So we're going to tackle that and the latest on Dusan Vlahovic and what's going on with Danilo right now. So let's go. Alright everybody, reminder to like the video and of course subscribe to the channel. Alright, now let's get into it. So McKennie has had interest from Aston Villa and Bournemouth so far. As far as any offers coming forward, there are expected offers from those two clubs. He is waiting for Dortmund, but he also awaits offers from top clubs. However, I don't think he's going to get that. We are of course going to keep tabs on Weston McKennie, as it seems that he is expendable to Juventus. All right, so we'll keep tabs on that one. Now Rugani, any discussions about an outgoing loan or whatnot, or his leave from Juventus, are going to be put to rest, and they've been put to rest by his agent. In a discussion with Mirko Di Natale has posted that his agent has said they're not actively looking for any solutions in the winter mercato for Danilo Rugani, because Juve has expressed their happiness at having him remain. So Rugani will remain, and it must be said, and we said it on the post-match podcast after Juve Udinese. Check that one out. It was a great show. The live chat was absolutely fire. But we said, hey, for the past season, when he's been called upon, he has been fine, and he's a much different player of old. That Danilo Rugani that we couldn't have faith in and wasn't reliable and was shaky doesn't seem to be around. Not all last year anyways, and not so far this season when we've called him into action. So there you have it. Credit where credit is due. Now, in terms of Danilo is set to extend with Juventus to 2026. All right. This guy, I talk about him a lot on podcasts and whatnot, and I'm not trying to sound like a broken record by any means, but I can't think of a bigger turnaround from a player in his first season at Juventus to where Danilo is now, being absolutely crucial for us, being an absolute rock and a leader, and wearing that captain armband and doing it very much a lot of justice. So a lot of credit goes out there. He's looking to extend to 2026. Now, I will say this, as happy as I am with Danilo extending, we have to make sure that the parts circulating around that make sense. And what I mean by that is that yes, sometimes you have to move on regardless of the good performances and strong showings. So, for instance, Sandro. Some are calling for Sandro to be renewed at a reduced wage and be happy with it. But for me, Sandro's one I would move on from. And the reason is we don't want too many of older guys that you're not going to see anything out of transfers moving on and whatnot. So you still have to keep the wheels in motion, and you still have to bring in new fresh blood and get them integrated into this team and still move forward. So even Bonucci kind of falls into that category. Bonucci's performances have also dipped, and he has lost his status in that lineup for big games this season. So we have to make calls. We have to move guys on and bring in new guys. Rugani is one, whether he stays on beyond this season, or that's another guy you look at and you bring in the next wave and keep the wheels in motion, right? So that's what I mean when I say I'm happy with Danilo extending, and I would do that, but we still have to keep moves. We can't keep anyone else really at the back that's older or has been around a while and performances aren't quite there. All right. Now, the nice thing about Danilo too is if we don't remain in a 3-5-2 coming into next season, that's fine for Danilo, right? But for a guy like Sandro, it doesn't necessarily work because he can't go back to a left back position, and we need some fullbacks. So it's going to be very interesting, but that's what I mean in terms of Danilo. But Danilo, again, credit to him. And if you can think of a player that's had that big a turnaround at Juventus from year one to where he's at now, hey, I'd love to hear it. I can't think of any off the top of my head. All right. Now let's get to player statuses going into this big game against Napoli. Okay. So we've got Bremer, who is going to be back. All right. Quadrado is still out. It's looking like next week. Vlahovic will not be a part of the Napoli match and is actually expected to miss a few more beyond that. All right. So with Vlahovic, it's getting to a point where I don't think any of us truly know what's going on. I think, there's shouts that a frustration from some Juventini saying, why on earth did he not do the surgery when he needed to? Probably the World Cup. But we are only speculating here. And I still am of the belief that the high majority of people out there would opt out of surgery if they had the opportunity. All right. We know that what he's dealing with, the pubalgia there, could turn into a hernia. And we've seen in general, we've been speaking about this and covering this a lot and keeping tabs on it. But this new head of fitness and physical performance and training has delayed recoveries with a lot of our players so far. So Vlahovic, maybe just the effect of the new guy and how cautious he is being. And the other thing is, when you look at our results and what's going on, we do not need to rush him back. So there's a report come out today that says Max Allegri is not rushing him back because he doesn't really fit our new mold, saying Vlahovic does not fit our new mold. Don't believe that report for a second. Nothing's coming from Max in terms of rushing or not rushing Vlahovic back. And yes, he will definitely have a position. How would he not have a position when we're playing a 3-5-2? Don't believe any of that. He's being kept out because of the fear of a hernia and just in general how we've worked with our players and them coming back from injuries. So there you have it. Di Maria and Chiesa are expected to start against Napoli right from the outset. So Chiesa has been waiting patiently. Di Maria, there was some fears about another injury coming out of the Udinese game, but he was just taken off as a precaution to keep him ready to go for that Napoli game. So look for both of those guys to start, all right? Juventini, that's your news break to today. How jacked up are you for that game on Friday? I'm absolutely pumped. Juve got a couple of good results going their way to finish this weekend's round at second place, all right? And I can't help but think back to when Milik scored that winner for us and we got screwed, all right? Be very much so even more interesting. But hey, on Friday, I have faith the boys will get it done and we're going to make things extremely interesting. How do you feel about all the news you heard today, Juventini? Drop it in the comments section to this video, okay? And let's mix it up. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily update video, and we're going to just keep it going as we get into the build-up leading up to that big match on Friday, all right? Don't forget to like the video and, of course, subscribe. Fino alla fine, Forza Juve. Ciao tutti.